you to founder Richard George, and also our CEO is here, Stella. So welcome. Thank you for joining us. Okay, so we will just proceed. We'll proceed now. So basically, we are going to be having a short discussion, and if you have questions, please, you share with us. We also want to get questions from you. And please, I would also like to see you drop on the comment section your introduction. Let's know your name, where you are joining us from, and also your expectations from this session. So what are you expecting from this session? Because I'm going to be sharing with you the objectives, what we really want to do. So we want to hear from you as well. What are your expectations? What are you looking forward to taking out from this session, so that as a guest talk about this, we can also ensure that we are also addressing your concerns and things you really want us to talk about. So on this session today, we are going to be basically introducing the concept of sustainability in the simple and relatable way, and we are also going to help you understand why sustainability matters and also how it impacts our daily lives as youth, especially. Then we are going to also highlight our individual roles. So what's exactly our roles when it comes to sustainability? Is it just for some kind of big guys, or some kind of communities, or some kind of big organizations? So can individuals do something? So that's actually one thing we're still going to be looking at. Then also this session is also aimed at inspiring you as a participant in this session today, to make impactful action, to take something. So what we call climate action. Do something so that can also impact this whole concept. So when we talk about sustainability, we are actually basically saying, okay, how can we ensure that our actions today does not reduce tomorrow's things we're saying? So because a lot of times, more of like saying, thinking transgenerational, thinking to the next generation. So whatever we are doing today, how does it affect generations to come? That's what sustainability is. So how do we ensure that what we are doing today, our actions, don't negatively impact future generations? Please, can you all hear me? I've not seen things on the chat box before I bring in our guest. Let me see your expectations before our guests start coming in. Hope you can all hear me, please. Okay, so I've not seen anything. I don't know if you want us to move or you want us to stay and wait, but it's a good way. At least we should see your objective. So what exactly your expectations for this session? So what are you expecting? What do you want to learn? What would you like us to talk about? What are you expecting to take out from the session? Please, let's meet you. Tell us your name on the chat session. Tell us your name. Tell us your expectation. Where you are joining us from is also fine. I'm joining from Nigeria, and I think our guests will also talk about that too. Thank you. Okay. All right. So while we wait for that, we may not be able to wait for everyone to send it, but I've not seen anyone to read yet. I'm still looking forward to resending so we can have a beautiful session together today. All right. So I'll quickly introduce our guest right now on the call with me. Funmilayo is on the call. I think okay, so let me just go ahead. So we have Jay on the call. I'm sure he will tell us the full name properly. We have Jay on the call. So he's passionate about simplifying sustainability and empowering individuals and organizations for a sustainable future. So Jane is the founder of Sustainability Simply Put, as a passion project to share his experts in corporate sustainability, systems thinking, and education for sustainable development. So he strives to create impactful change through education and capacity building. He believes in constant learning and improvement, and doing so should be fun and an enjoyable process for all. Yeah, like Jay, I love your I love your introduction. So Jay is saying he wants all these things to be enjoyable and fun for everyone. Please, let's welcome Jay to the call. Let's say welcome to Jay. Jay is going to be one of our guests. So welcome, Jay. So
Yeah, thank
do
you.
we have Funmilayo
Happy
on
to
the
be
call
here.
too? Uh, thank you. Yeah, thank you for those claps. Yes, please let's bring it in. Okay, so I saw something on the chat now before I welcome our next speaker. Stella said, I'm here to get a clearer picture on the different aspect of sustainability and get a very clear picture of what sustainability is. Thank you very much, Stella, for that. So let's keep it coming. So we have to introduce our next guest right now, Funmilayo Adeniyi. So she's an environmental sustainability expert who combines academic excellence. She's an academic expert actually, who combines academic excellence with hands-on community engagement. As a lecturer in environmental management at Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Akwa, and a one-time consultant with Anambra State Waste Management Authority and Carbon Africa. She brings both theoretical knowledge and practical experience to her work and in environmental conservation and waste innovation and waste management innovation. So she has also spearheaded several groundbreaking environmental initiatives. So please let's celebrate our own Funmilayo. So Funmilayo is also a mentor, and she's mentor and team of the RGF Greeners as well alongside Jay. So please let's celebrate our guest as they officially come on board to start this conversation. So welcome, Funmilayo.
I'm so glad to be here. Thank you, Faith. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. So please kindly pin our video as well. Our host. Okay, thank you very much for that. So yes. So we are going to have this awesome discussion, and I'm sure you all follow us. So please, if you have questions, please just kindly drop on the comment section, and we will attend to them and all of that. So we know that ROGF Green Resource is an offshoot of the Richard George Foundation, and the aspect of ROGF Green Resource that we're focusing on is basically circular economy. I'm sure this discussion is going to explain all this to us, to tell us that sustainability is very, very broad. So which part of the niche are you carving for yourself? So ROGF Greeners also say we want to convert waste to wealth. We all understand why we are taking that direction and where it is when it comes to sustainability. So over to you, Jay. What would you say sustainability is, and how would you explain what sustainability is so our audience can understand? Just like you said, enjoyable and fun.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Faith, for the generous introduction. And I hope just a audio check if I'm audible. Yes?
Yes, you are, Jay.
Okay, perfect. So when we talk about, let's start with the sustainability, the word itself. Okay. So sustainability, it's a combination of two words, sustain and ability, right? So sustenance means to provide or to support, and ability, right? So it's an ability to support. So one question that I always have is sustainability a new word? Is sustainability a new concept which has came recently, or it has been always with us? So what I believe is, though sustainability as a word in English language it came, let's say recently in last 40-50 years, from 1960s, 1970s, the usage of sustainability and sustainable development that came into existence. But before that also, were we not sustainable? That is a question that we need to ask. In short, we were always been sustainable. So it's not like that sustainability came in 1960s, 1970s, and then only this sustainability or sustainable development is there. To understand it, in 1960s, 1970s, there was more awareness about environmental conservation. And that's why there was one United Nations committee, and they produced one report, Brundtland Report. The commission's name was Brundtland Commission, and in 1987, they produced one report called as Our Common Future, looking at the problems across the world, and they define sustainability or sustainable development as it's a development. We have to do development, right? But in a way which meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. So whatever needs we have to provide for all the human population, I would say, all the human beings, we have to provide in such a way that there is sustainability. It should be sustained for the longer duration. And when we say longer duration, it's not about 5 or 10 years. We are talking about hundreds and thousands of years. So what kind of life people will have in the year, let's say, 2400? If we just try to think about that question, and accordingly, if we align our action, that is what to meet sustainable development and sustainability.
Thank you very much, Jay. Thank you for that run through. So we don't have to compromise future things. So we can do things now without compromising for the future. So that's actually one direction we have to also look at this, and that's fine. Thank you very much, Jay, for that. For me, did you want to add something? So what's sustainability to you? How would you want everyone here to relate to what sustainability really is?
Okay, thank you, Faith. I think that Jay has already done justice. It came from the academic points, which that was supposed to be me. Explain everything.
As the academia.
How sustainability started. So I love that. But what I want to add, he has already given us the definition, which is, ensuring that we meet our present needs without depleting the resources, of this that we need now, okay, so that the future generation can also be able to use those resources. And when I shared this program on LinkedIn, I made an illustration like it's just like having money in a piggy bank, right? Normally, when you have money in your piggy bank at the end of the year, you break the piggy bank and spend the money. But this time around, you're not spending all the money. You break the piggy bank, take a little, and leave some and continue to save, because there are future challenges, financial challenges coming up, and you don't want to finish the money. That's just like what it is. Or we have resources, all right, but because most of these resources, renewable. So these non-renewable ones, we don't want to finish it so that deplete everything, so that the future generation will not have what to use. So that's what sustainable development or sustainability is all about. And then I will also say that it doesn't only what do I use now? It doesn't only talk about environmental protection. All right, it balances environmental protection, economic development as well. I always say that the environment, or environmental sustainability and conservation, and the economy are mutually inclusive. You can't even separate both of them. They are mutually inclusive. And then even our social well-being also balances our social well-being. So when we talk about sustainability, it's not just about the environmental protection. There's the economic development part, there's the social well-being part. So just think of it as when you are living on earth, and then you are ensuring that everyone thrives. You are doing everything possible to see that the people that are in that generation which you are thriving, and you are in everything you are doing, you also have in mind thousands of generations to come, to ensure that these people, the water you are using now, they will still see water to use. In the next 5 generations, they will still see water to use.
Exactly.
They will still see crude oil to use. They will still see, they will still have a fertile soil to use. They will still have fishes in the river to eat. And because when we're talking about sustainability, we're not just talking about us human beings. We are also considering biodiversity. Okay, so we are also seeing that the fishes we have now, we'll still have them, not just for us human beings to eat, for them to be alive, because they balance out the ecosystem, all these organisms, both plants and animals. So that's just what sustainability is all about. And then, you know, I always like to say that we should have it in mind that as we speak about the economic development, you know, with the challenges happening all around the world, let us have sustainability in mind, because you can't even, they are mutually exclusive. You can't, because we are looking at natural resources here, you know, raw materials. These things are what we use our raw materials. So how do we use them? Are we using them to finish them, to deplete them? I remember during when Goodluck Jonathan was president, there was this advert that, you know, they were doing about crude oil, trying to show that crude oil can finish. So let us be careful, you know, how we use it. I didn't really know much about sustainability then, but now that I think about it, you know, it makes a whole lot of sense. So, yeah, you know, basically that's just what I can add.
Thank you. Thank you, Funmilayo, for that breakdown too. So we can now understand why it's important for us to be concerned about how oil is being drilled, especially we Nigerians. We understand that terms, right? So when we see people doing some things, we should now we now have to take some time to think, because what Fumi said now and what Jay also said is, when we are using things, is it still going to be available for people in the future to use? You see a lot of animals going into extinction. There are some we don't even know again, because we actually went into the wild and we killed those animals. Now we don't even have them. Now we destroy our trees, deforestation. So we destroy our trees. The purpose of these trees is not even serving anymore, because we are taking them away, building everywhere. And I'm sure as we go on, I guess you also tell us more about how this thing is actually causing a lot of problem around us. So we'll look at that too. So now over to you, Jay. Why does this really matter? I think that's where we now need to break it down, because we talked about sustainability in the fact that it's using things now with the concern about people in the future. Let it still be available for them. Let them have a way to ensure that these things does not just finish. Let's understand that things can be destroyed, and the health is for us to protect, to preserve. So if we're not preserving, it's not just health. I think Fumi also touched on that. Sustainability covers environment, it covers even business, it covers economic. That's the part of the economy, even social. So whatever you're doing that can continue, that should continue, that's where sustainability comes in. So not just environment, but most times we talk a lot about environment because that's one part that people don't even look at all. So we don't know that every single thing we do is constantly destroying our environments and everything. So Jay now will tell us why this is important. So Jay, why is this topic of sustainability important? Why do we have to think of sustainability when it comes to our environment, when it comes to economy and other areas?
All right. Yeah, thanks for the question. And as Funmilayo has explained, right? So one term I would like to take from her, which is mutually inclusive, right? So I just want to spend some time on this, because when we talk about sustainability, you can simply imagine it as a let's say a table which is having three pillars. Okay, so let's say if we consider this book as a sustainability, so there is something on this book, and let's say if we assume there are three pillars. Okay, so there are three pillars, assume third one is also there. Okay, so these are the three pillars. So what are these three? Economic, environment, and social. So these are the three pillars of this tabletop, and here is sustainability. So if you remove any one also, okay, so let's say if I remove environment from it, it will not hold, it will fall, right? So in the same way, you can understand sustainability as with the example of the table, right? It has three legs. If you take out one leg also, the table won't be there, right? So it will fall. In the same way, for sustainability, all three are important: environment, economic, and social. Any one of them, if getting hampered, or if we are destroying any one of them, for example, just now we discussed about how we are harming environment, right? So by deforestation, by cutting trees. So environment is one of the pillar that we are completely removing. Then sustainability, the table that we thought just now, so that will not stay stable, it will start moving. And in the same way, it's not only about environment, but let's say if you take out a social pillar, right? So then also it will have the problems. And when we say mutually inclusive, so it means that harming one will also harm others. So you cannot harm only one. For example, I cannot say I'll only protect environment and I'll not look after the economic pillar. Economic pillar is also important, and that's how social as well. Means we have to pay attention to all these three pillars at a time. It's not giving importance to any one of them. And I'll just within a minute I'll tell you why currently we are unsustainable or what are the issues of today, so that we understand why all three are important. Okay. So if we just go back to 100 years behind, let's say we are in 1925. I'll just request every one of you, please close your eyes and just hold on to your chairs and let's time travel 100 years back. Okay. If you all can do so, you will find that in 1920s, 1930s, the industrialization, globalization, the way our cities uh, developed during this time period, right? So we give excessive importance to economic growth. The model of growth, that the definition that we are having, every year we have to grow. The growth is only about finance. The growth is only about the money that we derive from the business. So with the three pillars, you can see that we have given more importance to economic pillar during these time period. That's why environment and social pillars got weakened up. It weakened, and that's why it's important to understand all these three pillars at the same time. It's not one after another. We have to understand the interrelationship. These are mutually inclusive. Okay, so that's why all these three pillars are important to pay attention to. Yes.
Thank you very much, Jay, for breaking that down. Yes, so Jay has already made us understand how this thing connects. So you can also, you want to do one and leave the other. So you need to understand how all of this works together and see how we can come in. Because if you don't understand why this is important, you will not even know how your action is contributing to the problem we are talking about every day. So the issue we've always had is, people, when people talk about climate, they'll say, you see them, the way they say it looks like as if we're joking, like the way they will start bringing figures, like, what are they for saying? This thing does not, it's not looking real. Like, this is just, they're just trying to scam us. They're trying to scam us because the way they're saying it. But when you break it down, just the way Jay has done and Dave Fumi is doing it right now, you now realize that, okay, so it's this small thing. That's what they're actually saying. They're making it so complex. So this thing is actually what it means. So what it means now is that every single action of yours is contributing. You see those sachet water we are drinking, especially we Nigerians, that's what we now drink. We throw it around. We don't know what is happening. You see when you turn on your tap and leave it to water to waste, you don't know what is happening. You see when you dig boreholes everywhere, you see in those, like in some places, you don't just have borehole everywhere like we have in Nigeria. It's not even ideal because we are destroying our ground. We don't even know. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be more of a central place. And because at the more everybody does their own, dig their way, dig, we are destroying our place. You see, earthquake and all of just that. A lot of times, we say Nigerian. So we don't know that what we do actually is affecting a lot of us. And you see that when we burn debt, when they will tell you no burning of debt, we don't know why. So people just tell us something, we don't know why they say we should not do it, because they'll say, please forget them, Jerry, let's burn it. And we burn debt. We do a lot of things because we do not understand why these things matters. So Fumi, would you want to add to this? Why does it really matter? Maybe break it down further too. Add to what Jay has said and bring it down home to Nigeria. So our attempts, and how we used to do it in Nigeria. So tell us very well.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Jay, for that. Jay is very explanatory. I love it. I love how he explains everything. So, he has talked about the three pillars. So you can't say I will protect the environment, but I will not protect the resources. They all are inclusive. So you will, once you touch this one, it has touched this one. It's a system. Okay, it's a system. So what I want to add is that we all know the challenges that we are facing. Okay, there's biodiversity loss, of course, climate change, which is a trend, and we have resource depletion, as well. So why does it matter? Because of all these things, we know that environmental protection is very important so that we can be able to protect our resources, we can be able to save or conserve biodiversity as well. It's like creating a world where people and nature, can flourish for a long term. You talked about the different ways that they tell us do this and do that, and we are wondering how. Speaking about water conservation, I have a friend that she went on vacation in Australia some years ago, and she said she got there and they were eating and piling up plates. She didn't understand why. So in the night, what she now understood was it was all about water conservation. Because in the night, they now put all the plates in the dishwasher and washed everything together. And she was like, guess what? A cup of water washed all those dishes in the dishwasher. Okay. And she now told us another experience that she had where one of their neighbors, who is also a Nigerian, or her auntie's neighbor, so to speak, who is also in Nigeria, was washing his car. You know how you wash car with hose? So you spray and you just drop the hose and you didn't turn off the tap and the water is just going. And somehow somebody cited him, another of their neighbors cited him and went to go and report him. And they came and they arrested him, because in that place, the government, they encourage water conservation. And like you said, it's not everybody that has water. We abuse water in Nigeria a lot. It's not everybody that has water today. I always tell my students when I'm teaching about renewable and non-renewable resources, I tell them that water is not exactly a non-renewable resource. I'll just say it's in between because it can finish. And anything that can finish is non-renewable, and sometimes we wonder if it is actually really a non-renewable resource. Why do people, come up with initiatives to conserve water? You go to a hotel, water is rushing, but there's a cup in the bathroom. They want you to fetch the water instead of running the tap. They want you to fetch the water in the cup. After a while, we came up with the two buttons on the cover of the water system. The smaller button is for urine. It doesn't flush for a long time. Okay, the bigger one is for poop, and it flushes for a long time. All these things are ways to conserve water. And another thing about water conservation is you are also conserving energy. At least for us in Nigeria, it's energy you use to pump the water. And energy conservation is also, very, very important. So we see that these things, why it matters is that for us to be able to live a balanced life on Earth, we need to conserve, because these are the challenges that we are facing. Our biodiversity is going down seriously, especially in Nigeria. I was reading up an article where all the biodiversities we have. So what I mean by that, I mean both animals and plants, all right, of different species, of different families that we have in Nigeria is just like 4,000 plus. So now we are wondering, what are the things that, are leading to the, depletion of this resources and the biodiversity. And like you mentioned, there are animals and there are plants that we don't even know about right now. They've gone into extinct. And apart from the fact that some have gone into extinct, some are even endangered at this point. Endangered means they are no longer much, so they are about to go extinct if we don't do anything about it. Just the way we celebrate World Environment Day and all those, commemorations. I was reading them some years ago about World Tiger Day or so. So they had to come up with that because they found out that some years ago, tiger was going into extinct, was endangered rather. So they had to come up with that so that we can conserve, tiger and its family. So yeah, this is why
Thank you.
matter. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that art. Thank you very much. I think our guest has actually explained this. Please, thank you. Let's keep the emojis coming. Appreciate them. It's a lot to actually talk about this because when we don't go out there, we don't really know why these things matters and what it means actually. So just like she said, yes, I had because if you don't, I left Nigeria and I saw that really. I saw cup in the bathroom. I was like, what's going on here? I was looking for water to buy. I did not even see sachet water like we take here. They don't sell. So the only bottle water they have is one small tiny bottle water, and the water is more than 1,000 naira in our Nigeria currency. So imagine I'm buying one small water. That is not enough for me to drink, and I have to go and drink the one that is inside the bathroom. I was like, what's happening? So to me, it wasn't clean. But to them, that's the water because they purify it. It's okay to drink. But if you have too much of money, they go and buy the bottled water that is over 1,000 naira. And at the end of the day, you will not realize there's never enough for you to drink. So you can see that they everywhere you see them say that preserve our water. They don't want to even waste it. That's because they understand the value and they are teaching you what it is. So these things are important and we need to be concerned. And you see that our weather has changed. She's talking about global warming. Our weather has changed. We see erosion, flooding everywhere. We see a lot of things. All of these things, the result of our action, our activities. And if we continue like this, we don't do anything about it. What it means is that the next generation, they will not even have where to put their heads. So that's why we need to do something right now because the planet is breaking and it depends on us right now. So that being said, we need to move on to the next one, which is we want to talk about circular economy right now. So this is also important because when we talk about circular economy sustainability, people are like, okay, babe, what's the difference? Like, how are you jumping from circular to sustainability? Yes, circular economy is a pathway. It's under sustainability. It's also part of the way we actually talk about sustainability. So, Jay, would you want to say something around circular economy?
Yeah, sure. So, if you understand sustainability, right? So what we discussed, definition, 3 pillars. Now, next question comes, and we also understand renewable energy, non-renewable energy. How do we conserve water? The next question comes: what is in our control? What can we do, right? So, what actions can we have to correct this, right? So, I'm very sure that all of you who have joined this session, you might be thinking there are problems everywhere and how we can contribute for the solution, right? Ultimately, solution matters. So there are multiple ways to, let's say, contribute. First is at individual level. So right, like we discuss about water conservation, maybe you plant trees. That is something that you can do at individual level. Each one of us can do that thing, right? Second is at organizational level. So organizations or companies or institutions, they have a bigger agency, bigger capacity to influence the environment. And that's why organizations' role matter more. And that's why if an organization, or for that matter, we can take any one example of the day-to-day products that we use. For example, it's a paint manufacturing company, right? So all of us we use the paint in day-to-day life, right? So the manufacturing organization of this paint or this product, and you can understand any other example also, you can just imagine that now they are producing it in a large number, they are manufacturing it in a large number. So their capacity to influence the environment first, their capacity to influence the society through their operations in whichever location they are, with their employees, with the families of their employees, they have a huge contribution to society as well, right? So they can contribute in that way also. And the third, which is obvious, for economic aspect as well. If they are doing the fair business, that's good. That is supporting the economic pillar as well. In order to achieve this, if we just understand sustainability, the definition, it's really confusing. So how do we achieve that the needs of future generation will be met? What we can do now? So that is not very clear. To achieve that, circular economy is one of the way. Circular economy is not an end itself. It is a mean to achieve sustainable development. Means with circular economy, there are multiple things in circular economy. We will come to that. But to understand context, circular economy is something which will help us to achieve sustainable development. And circular economy, which will focus more on how, as an organization, we can help the environment in a two ways. Okay. So let's again come to the example of pen. Okay. So as you can see, any product that you see, so you can just see in your room whichever product that you can see. Okay. You can always see there are two kind of ingredients in your product. First would be technical ingredient. Technical means, let's say, plastic, right? Which cannot, it's not organic compound, right? So it can't biodegrade. It's a technical compound. Second is organic compound, which can biodegrade, which, let's say, degrades in soil naturally. So these are the two kind of uh, elements that we have in any product. So in circular economy, what we want to do is we want to keep the technical product, which is a plastic, right? So plastic we have to recirculate again and again in the system, and we want to let's say it should not go to incineration or landfill. There are two most I would say popular ways of discarding it. First is you just dump it into landfill or in the ocean, or second is incineration, means we just burn it. Burning the pain won't add that much value, right? So this technical component is gone, and again we have to extract this. Again we have to do more extraction, more mining, more deforestation, more extinction of species, more climate change ultimately. So all these things are interrelated. So in circular economy, what can we do? We want to keep this technical component for maximum duration of time. We want to get circular, we want to get the use from it again and again. So there are multiple ways we will look at in the future discussion, but to circulate the technical elements, and second, whichever is biodegradable, we don't have to put it somewhere where it, let's say, it doesn't come back or get back to the earth. That is not valuable also, because soil also requires the nutrients, soil also requires the organic systems, right? So that's the living soil. And so these two components we have to circulate again and again. So maximum utilization of these two without letting any element, any nutrient going to waste. So there is zero waste concept. Circular economy talks about a concept where there is zero waste. Each of the element is a resource for another. Just like in nature. In nature, you can't see a waste, right? So something, a waste of one product, one activity is a resource for another, right? Fallen leaves also, it if it comes into soil, it also get nutrient, right? So it again circulates again and again without any waste. So in a similar way, we want to incorporate that in organizations, in industries, in institutions, so that we can make sustainable development a possibility or a means to achieve that. I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much. Please, let's actually give feedback. Did we all understand what Jay just explained? Thank you. Yes, yes, that's coming in. Thank you for that. We need more to show you are following. Please, we need more emojis dropping to show that you got what they said. So it just broke down the circular economy concept, just like he said in the circle. So we want to ensure that there's zero waste. We want to ensure that resources keep moving in a circle and not going out. You understand? So when you say linear, just like this, so you collect everything, just go and it just get disposed, nothing is coming back. But from what Jay said, in a circular economy,
Hi, Faith. I guess I lost you, or others as well. Okay. So meanwhile, I would just request everyone, if you have any question, please feel free to drop in the comment. We would love to hear your
Okay,
questions.
Faith, we
Yeah, Faith.
oh, I'm so sorry, my network. Yeah, so sorry about that.
lost you for a bit.
Yes.
Faith.
So okay, so we actually heard that from Jay. So we need to find a way to ensure that it keeps going and the cycle and nothing really gets to waste. So now it's not our responsibility to think about it. I think I like the way it started. That we need to now find, okay, what can we do? Where's our own place? What's our responsibility? Because now you are taking something. When you go to buy something, ask yourself, this thing I'm buying, what do I do next with it? After using it for 1 year, 3 years, can I do what Jay said? Can I use it for something? Do I have to just go to the waste bin and throw it away? Is there something that this thing can be used for? So that's one reason why you see this thrift. So sorry. You see this thrift business. This one, you know why they tell you that it's not legal? This is why they say it's not legal. Because when you buy those things, they don't last. Now you can't throw them away. That's what happens. So at the end of the day, it's bringing in more waste into the country, and that's what we don't want. So that's why they tell you the things you are buying. Can you find a way to bring them back so that you don't easily dump them? So is there a way we can buy things that we don't have to always throw away without using them from something else? So that's what we should be thinking. That's what Jay was saying, that's our responsibility. So for me now, I think you should tell us more about this, the aspect of what can we do daily as individuals, as youths especially, to contribute to this, to help to ensure that we are able to promote this principle of circular economy, which is recycling, reuse, upcycling. So we can recycle things. We may not be able to have that capacity, but we can keep things and give to recycling companies so that we don't waste them. Then we can also think of, okay, things we are using. We have something we bought this thing for this purpose, but can we use it for something else after it's done for this purpose, so that to ensure that we don't get to throw them away when they are done? Or can we find another thing? Can we try to maybe add some features to it to change it, and not fully changing it, but you are making it more better than the way it was for a separate purpose? So how can we bring this into our daily lives to ensure that we also become part of this? We are promoting a circular economy rather than the one of just buying things, using, and we throw them away, and that's the whole lifespan of that thing.
Okay, thank you, Faith. I remember during our Green Nexus launch, you talked about the linear economy first, how it is before you explain for linear economy, which is the traditional economy that we have always practiced. So we make and we use and we discard, make, use, discard, But for circular economy, in circular economy, you just replace that discarding with, replace it with reuse, repair, recycle, upcycle. So instead of you to discard, find something else that you can do with that supposedly supposed waste. Instead of discarding, find a way to repair it. Okay, and then again, find a way to recycle. I always say in my dustbin, anytime I have an opportunity to talk about sustainability like this, I always like to use myself as an example because I practice everything sustainability. You don't see anything recyclable in my dustbin because I have recyclers, okay, that pick up those things for me. You won't see cartons, you won't see paper, you won't see plastic, you won't see aluminum cans, maybe for tomato paste or for canned drinks. You won't see PET bottles. You won't see any form of plastic in my dustbin. I keep all of them, and when they have gotten to a particular amount, I call my recycler to come and pick them up. And these things, I always say, look, see it as a way of saving the environment and also making money, because it's not free. They buy it from me. I don't dash them, because these things are used for other things. So before you throw something in the bin, filling up the landfills, or the dump sites, like, in fact, I like to say that in Nigeria, we don't have proper landfills. What we have are just dump sites. So instead of you filling up the dump sites, why not just recycle those things? Instead of you throwing away something, be fast to throw away something, why not repair it? Your extension has spoiled, you just wrap it and put it in the dustbin. Why not take it to an electrician, at least see if they can be fixed, before you throw it away and run to the market to buy another one? Anything that you can use, reuse it. Anything that you can repair it. You spoke about thrift. Thrift is a two-edged sword. I'll tell you why. Let's talk about thrift shoes. Most of these thrift are foreign shoes. Some of them even last longer. I have one that I've used for 30 years. It's a wedge slippers. I've used it for 13 years. I've fixed it only once. So imagine that I buy, all those ones that don't last. By the time you fix it, there's some that, some of the Nigerian made ones, or maybe China, sometimes, you buy it, you have to sew it around. If it's a shoe, sew it around first. If not, it's going to embarrass you. So you sew it around first, and then before, you now start wearing them. But imagine you buy something that lasts long, and you use it for long. That's what circular economy is all about, and that is what the little rose will play. I'll talk about something that we all are guilty of. I stopped practicing that for the past 6 years. Recycling or reusing my carrier bags, my nylon bags. In all my handbags, I have nylon bags or carrier bags. Why do you always go to market and collect new carrier bags? Every day you go to market. Even the shop beside your house, just 2 steps from your house, you went to buy biscuits, you still tell them to put the biscuit in the nylon bag. What are you using all those nylon bags to do? And at the end of the day, they all end up in the bin, in the landfills, or even in the drainages, causing flooding. They clog, these drainages. What they call it, all these takeaway plates, which are even not healthy, especially the styrofoams. I'm so happy that in Lagos State they've banned it, and I'm looking forward for every state to ban those styrofoams, because they are even cancerous. Those ones are even annoying because they can't even be recycled. So you see them, they are there for thousands of years to come. They are just there in the landfill, in clogging the drainages and all. So every little thing, I just spoke about knives clogging the drainages, and then everywhere is flooded. Sometimes I used to say that, especially in Lagos State, once rain start falling, everywhere is clogged, the drainages are clogged, everywhere is flooding, and then you see Channels TV will go there, and the people say, we are calling on the government to come out. Please, is it government that says you should use nylon to block your drainages and everywhere is flooding? Why are you calling on the government? It is your responsibility, because this thing is our responsibility first. Okay? Yes, government have their own parts to play, but what is your own role? You go for weddings, you go for events, they give you carrier bags. Go with them to the shopping mall and shop. Because when we all start practicing those things, the production of the people that are making those nylon bags is going to reduce. And they'll find an alternative. Outside the country, outside Nigeria, they have paper bags. That's what they use. Because first of all, paper is degradable. Okay, when you want to have a party, if you must take away, use plastic, use paper cups, use paper takeaway plates. Don't use plastics. Or better still, use normal plates. Find someone to wash them when you finish. You don't have to use plastic takeaway plates, because all these things are what contributes to, to the issues we have with the environment. And I always say that recycling is even in the last. We have a pyramid, and this 3 R's is the best practice for waste management. Every field have their best practice, and we know what best practice is. Best practice is the universally accepted way or model of doing something. And in that pyramid, recycling is even the last before disposal. So before you even think about recycling, having something you have to recycle, you have to think of reuse first. Prevention is the first on the pyramid. You don't need it, so don't buy it. You don't need it. You don't need those nylons. You have those carrier bags that you collected in those events and those weddings. If you need to pack anything, use them. So prevention first. You don't need to buy that plastic cup. You don't need to buy that thing. So don't even buy, you don't need it. The one you have, if it has spoiled, find how to fix it. That's prevention before you talk about reuse. So recycle is the last thing. So you are even expected not to even get to the point where you have something to recycle. But in the event that you have tried the prevention and the reuse, you can now think about recycling. All right. But the most important thing is that find a way to prevent having those things in the first place. So there are many ways that we can, practice circular economy as our role, as individuals. So these are the ways. Like in my house, I don't have, for example, I don't have foot mats. All the foot mats in my house, in the front of my house, in front of my bathroom, are my discarded jeans that I don't wear anymore. Okay, I take them to the tailor. The tailor sews it into like a foot mat, and I put it in front of my house. If you don't want to dust your leg on it before you come in, that's your business. I did not rush to the market to go and buy foot mats. Okay, so that is what I have. Anything you can convert to something, convert it. Don't always be on the move to go and buy something that that if you look around your house, you can use it, for something else. You can upcycle it. You can, upcycling is even the easiest. Okay, let's talk about upcycling PET bottles. All those women that sell palm oil and all those things, that's upcycling. You give them. So instead of throwing it away, okay, there's no recycler around where I'm living. No problem. But there are people that sell granules. There are people that sell palm oil. There are people that sell honey. So instead of throwing that PET bottle in your dustbin, go and sell it to them. What I do, I don't have a glass bottle recycler. So what I do is that I give it to granite people, cashew nuts, if it's that kind of bottle that they need. And they give me cashew nuts and granules in return. Sometimes they give me a whole bottle. So that's these are simple things that we can do as individuals to practice circular economy. Yeah. So
Thank you very much, Fumi. Fumi
So,
just gave us 3 ideas on how we can save costs. Since you are buying, just go and give them butter, they'll give you granules.
yeah.
So why are we even paying money? Well, we can actually take these ideas you just shared. And really, these are
Yeah.
nice. So these are things that are doable actually. So and they are not things that are very just far there. So she just gave practical ways you can contribute to this thing. So there's a question on the chat box. I'll come to that. Before then, we just have one more thing to address right now because Fumi just mentioned some things, and that will lead us to this particular question. Jay, when we talk about misconception about sustainability, this myth about sustainability, so what would some you would like to talk about? Like some persons will say it's actually expensive. What is sustainability? Say anything is very expensive. We can't, it's for, and some people will tell you that it's for big people, big organizations, and there's a certain kind of people that should practice practice sustainability. It's not for some people. There are some people we also say that it's just about the environment. So that these are some kind of myths, and there are misconceptions. So which ones? What would you want to say about these things? And are there some you would like to address too in this discussion?
Yeah, sure, sure. So there are many misconceptions, like as you said, one, which is sustainability is for, let's say, rich people. It's not for everyone. I would say it is not true. The reason being, just the example of a healthy food, right? So healthy food is not that, let's say, costly. So just to take an example, if we compare two things, almond with groundnut. Okay, so I hope in India it's like that. So groundnuts are very economical for people to purchase compared to the cashew nuts or the almonds. Is that so? Is that same with Nigeria as well? Is it so?
Sorry, can you
Almonds,
recap that?
yeah, almonds must be more costly compared
So
to
you heard
groundnuts,
him.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. But nutrient wise, if you check, so they have just similar nutrients. And in the same way, I would talk about food. I would talk about, if we take the other misconceptions, as it's very difficult for us to follow sustainable lifestyle, because it asks us to give up a lot of things. So that is something that people mostly think about, that in order to be sustainable, in order to be environment friendly, we have to sacrifice a lot. But what I will suggest is, by sacrificing these things, maybe you will get more joy if you could try it, right? So for example, I have been trying this for last 4 or 5 years now. I don't waste food from my plate. Okay, so that is something that I pledge. It's a small action, and I'm following it with every meal, and that gives me conviction that, okay, so every time when I eat, so that gives me a reminder that I need to do something. So it's a small activity, it leads us to the other activities which might feel like a difficult thing, right? So just the thing is, it's not that difficult. You can start small. Starting small as like switching off the electricity when it is not required, the fans, the lights, small action. But if you do it consistently, you will develop your resolve, you will develop your willingness to contribute, and that's how big actions can also come up. So yeah, so I would say it's not difficult. So that is something which is most people have. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay. Yes, it's not difficult. It's something we just have to start small. So don't believe the fact that when people tell you that sustainability is just it's too complex. It's actually not. And you see that I guess that they broke it down, and I'm sure from what you've been hearing so far, you can see that it's actually something you can relate with. We actually had to break it down to using examples, using practical tips and things you can see. Even we mentioned the fact that rather than buying food match, she can, and or maybe throwing her jean away, she can actually take it to the tailor to convert it into something she can put outside as a food match, and it's working. So yes, and we have a question. I think on that we just need to say I am answered this question that we have on the chat box. Someone is asking. The question is quite funny. So he said, okay, I think Jay mentioned reuse, reduce, yes, repurpose, reuse, and recycle. Refuse. Oh yeah, refuse. Refuse. So Fumi said if you don't need something, don't buy. So there are things you should not take home. So you should refuse some things. Learn the principle on how to do that. You don't take everything. Don't take nylon when you have it not. Tell them that no, I don't need, I have something. So that you don't have to contribute to the environment. Yes. So you don't also have to feel guilty, because really we are adding to it. We are corporate and we are calling government. Yes, we are the one causing it. So reduce it. reduce how much of it you are using, how much of this thing. Then repurpose, like we all mentioned. Yes, use something, use it for a different thing, then reuse it, then recycle. So that recycle is the higher stage, just like Fumi said, the last part. So most times you need to give to people that actually, because they need to convert it to a raw material, which most times you may not be able to do in your house. So you need to give it out so that they can convert it to a raw material and use it to produce something else entirely. So that's actually a different part. And also we also want to reduce that recycling, because it's also a process, and most times this process also contributes one way or the other, even to the environment and all. Okay, so a question that is on the chat box right now is saying, at what point do we identify an object as waste? Because now it seems everything is now useful. For me, please speak the Nigeria language. So Jay, we also tell us something around this. So at what point, is Fumi on the call? I don't know if your network is. At what point should we consider? I don't think it for me. It's I think our network. Jay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Maybe you can just tell us first. Probably if you come, she can add to it. So, at what point should we consider things as waste? Because now we are talking about reuse. So, at what point should we now say, okay, this thing is actually waste? Because we cannot just start leaving everything we don't need. So, what do we do? So that's what somebody is asking right now.
Right. So as you were saying, so first is refuse. So if we start habit of not buying something just because other people are buying, or is it cheap? So let's stop it. So refuse at the start, so that we won't have so many objects in our house getting dirty, right? So that is first thing. But yeah, the question is, how do we identify as a waste? So I would say, to maintaining these objects, you are requiring more resources, right? So it's not always about keeping the equipment or object for longer duration of time, and then you let's say repurpose, reuse or something. So it's also about how much energy you're using during that period also. I'll just take a few examples, like if it is electric gadget, right? And if it is very old and it is consuming more electricity compared to the new gadget, which is very energy efficient, but still you are saying, no, I want to use this one only, which is being used from so many decades, so many years, and I'll still use it. So that will also not correct. So you have to judiciously see, and the key to implementation is how much energy, how much, maybe all other resources, so energy, water, overall your carbon footprint, how you can lower that. And if that is not being done, so you can discard it safely. So a waste given at the right space, right place, would also be a resource, right? So if, let's say, everything in your house you see, it's a how you can throw it away. So if throwing away, it gets upcycled somewhere. For example, just like what Familio has said, so giving a glass jar and getting cashews. So I would say that is something, a sustainable definition of sustainability. I'll take that definition with me today. But that is also a good way to handle waste. So if all of us can upcycle, that is a wonderful thing. So that would not be a waste then. You can see it as a resource somewhere else. Yeah. Faith, you are muted. If you're speaking, you need to unmute.
You're muted, Faith.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you for that. Yes. Thank you, Jay. Please, we need more questions coming on. I don't know if we are okay. Please, if you got answers to your questions, you have more questions as our guests are responding, please just ask on the chat. But yeah, thank you, Stella. Stella just gave a thumbs up. Okay. So, for me, do you also want to add to that? You got the question, right? Like, at what point can we consider something as waste? Maybe just add to what Jay has already explained, maybe with a practical example for that. Aha. So at what point should you not say this thing is waste, pata pata in Nigerian language?
All right. Sorry, my video is off just because of network. Network has been showing me out. Okay, so I will say that something is, you can consider something as waste as when it becomes waste. But at that time it becomes waste, there's still something else you can do with it. And if there's no something else you can do with it, you can then now recycle it. So from Stella's question, it doesn't mean that your house will be full of waste. It just means that, okay, yes, even if your house is full of waste, it just means that at some point, like I said, for me, I have recyclers that pick these things up from me. So I think that your responsibility as someone that is, that is very concerned about sustainability, and as someone that is very mindful about sustainability, is for you to now go and find these people that you can build these things, even if at that point there's nothing you can do with it but recycle. These are extra miles we have to go for the sake of sustainability. I will give you an example. Before I got in the place where I live, I have a neighbor that has a shop. So every time, a talk shop. So every time all those their cartons of biscuits and all those things that they buy in cartons and they sell, they bring it back, and somewhere at the back of the house they start to burn them. So it became so annoying to me, because first of all, they are causing air pollution, right? So one day I told them, I said, these things that you are buying, do you know there are some people that can buy them? So guess what I did one day? I was asking, I even put it on my status, I was looking for carton buyers in the city where I live. Until one day I was coming from church. So I saw someone there's in my area. I saw this person picking cartons, a Hausa guy with his cat. I got down from the bus and went to go and ask him, these cartons you are picking, what do you do with them? He said, I sell them. I said, okay, I have somebody that can be selling to you. Can you follow me to my house? He said, no, he has not finished picking. I said, I'll wait for you. I stood there under the sun for almost an hour waiting for him. He finished picking those cartons. I told him to drive his cat behind. But this person, now, if you come to my compound, there's a place that they stack cartons. They are making mad money. So this person will come with his scale, weigh those cartons and pay them. The person now even introduced them to somebody that will be buying those white nylons. You know, all those white nylons they used to pack drinks, and water. And even pure water, the one they used to pack pure water, all those white nylons. Now they also keep it. And somebody will come and weigh it and pay them. So these are the extra miles that we need to go for, and go to be able to keep those wastes for someone to pick it up. So yes, in quotes, your house will be full of waste, but it's money. Waste is now money. So it's not something you should complain about, right? It's a good problem. Let me put it that way. Even though your house is full of waste, it's a problem. And like I said, if it's not something that you can reuse, just find a space in your compound where you can be keeping those things. Like my pet bottles, I have mosquito nets, where I put them. I even have all those trash bins and trash bags too, where I keep some other of those of the recyclables. Even my organic waste. There's a farm, a little farm behind my house where I go and pour those things. All my kitchen waste, I don't pour them in my dustbin. Now is the time for mango, agbalumo, all those things. I want to cook vegetable, all the vegetable sticks I have where I put them in a bowl. After 2 days, when they have decomposed them in that farm. All right. So, these are the things that, yeah, it will look like there is a lot of waste in your house, but I mean, you have to go the extra mile to practice, sustainability. So it's something you have to be dedicated to. It's something that you just have to make up your mind that, yeah, this is going to cause a bit of a problem, but it's a good problem. And like I said, some of them are also, because it's a good problem because it makes money. for you, so
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So it's actually not a waste. Okay, somebody have a question, please. I'll come to you. Thank you. So it's actually an opportunity. So waste is not waste like we think. So when we throw these things away, we are losing opportunities. We are losing money. We are losing a lot of things. And I think this will make us come into something. So we do need to research which organizations, which individual, which people actually gets to pick up waste around. So you
Yeah.
can now practice waste separation. So we shouldn't really put all our waste in one place. You need to separate your plastic, you need to separate bottles, you need to separate different things so that it's easier for them to pick up waste and use for whatever it needs to be used for. So these things are actually reusable, so a lot of times. So not everything we should just throw away, and before we also throw them away, we need to also consider the ability for it to degrade. So how much can this thing degrade faster? So that's one thing. So some things do not really degrade very fast, so they just stay in the environment and they cause a lot of problem. So that's actually why we should not just dump them away, because as they are there, the degrading process itself is causing a lot of problem already for the
Yeah.
environment. So yeah, so thank you everyone for um your time. So somebody had a question. Can we just take that? I saw a raise of hand just now. Yes, please, you can just submit and speak, please.
Okay, thank you very much. There's a thin line between waste and reuse and junks. So why I'm saying this is someone can have a fridge or a freezer because a freezer has a table like a flat top. When the freezer is spoiled, they can use it to be keeping things, right? If we go to some houses or some people's places, you see that they store things, electronics, electronics and every other thing, but they are not really taking them out. But if you ask them, they will tell you they are reusing, like a fridge, a freezer that it has a flat surface. They're using it to pack a load of things and every other thing. So at what point does it become junks? And at what point, what is that? There is a slim line between it being junk and then being, the whole act of reuse and repurposing.
Okay, I think that junk is if you see something as junk is a personal thing, all right. So you can see it as junk if you see it in somebody's house, but they see it as a way, even if they are just using it to keep things, they see it as a way of saving space. So those things that would have been somewhere else, maybe on the floor, somewhere else occupying space, they can stack them on that freezer, and it's helping them to save space. So you are the ones seeing it as junk. They are seeing it as a space, saver, for them. And then again, it doesn't mean that all those things you can't use them. They can't be upcycled, in quotes. I want to use the word upcycled because I mean you can sell them as scrap. I've had a fridge that got bad. I fixed it. The freezer was not freezing again. It was just chilling, like chilling at all. And I still sold it back to the person that fixed it. I didn't dash him because he's still going to sell some of the parts that are still good as scrap. So all those things are not even, and some of these electronics, mind you, they have plastic parts. For example, a desktop computer. The back of the desktop computer is plastic, so it can be recycled. You can decide by yourself. If you have a recycler that picks up plastic from you, dismantle the computer, bring out the back that is all the plastic parts, put it as part of your recyclables, and the recycler picks them up. Okay, so I
Okay.
want them to be junk in. Like I said earlier, definition of junk is personal. Something you may see as junk might not be junk to someone else. Yeah, so I think that's the explanation I can give to that.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
they
I think
has
just said
something on the, yeah. He said
Yeah,
yeah,
upcycling
thank
and downcycle.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
and
So I
dance
just
cycle.
wanted to add, yeah, I just wanted to add when we say recycle, right? So in recycle, we are not understanding whether the purpose of that product is higher. It should be higher, right? So that is upcycling. The meaning is, uh, if you take example of the fridge, right? So the fridge is now not functioning. It's a junk. You are using it in place of a cupboard or just a table, right? So where you are just putting things on it. So that is definitely a down cycle, much below level, right? So down cycle is never an option in circular economy. When we talk about circular economy, it has to be upcycle. The loops that we are seeing, right? So reuse or refurbish, repurpose, then at last is recycle. So the closer is the loop, that is better. And the further away you go towards the recycling or uh, let's say incineration or dumping it is not recommended. So a closer loop, reusing that product. So maybe if the fridge is broke, you can repair it and you can use it or you can sell it, you can get money from it. And while doing so, it should replace a material which is required for a new fridge. So let's say if this is broke, you will purchase a new fridge, right? But if this is properly recirculated or refurbished, someone somewhere might replace, right? So that person will not purchase a new fridge, and the raw materials which are required for that fridge might be saved. So circular economy, when we relate it with our action, somewhere that should be upcycled, and at the same time it should prevent the raw material from going to the west. So it should be in a closer cycles. So that is helpful. I hope that helps.
Thank you.
Yeah, did that answer the question?
Yes,
You
very
can
much.
unmute.
Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, so do we have an else in any other one in the chat box? So at this point, is it a good time to close this? Okay, so since there are no further questions, concluding speech. Jay, can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you. We lost you in between. Can you please repeat? Yeah.
Yes. Can you just give us a concluding speech from your hand
Okay, sure.
to conclude your
So
session? Yeah.
sure. So if I want to conclude my session, sustainability is nothing but giving your glass jar for cashew nuts. So that's as simple as it is. You have to do it in small activities, whatever in your daily life, small things which will add up. And if we talk now in the session also, we talked about why don't government do it, government say what, why companies can't do it. So this is the inaction triangle. So everyone is seeing why this is not happening. Instead of that, if we can focus on what we can contribute, what we can do, then only our capacity also increases and we become a part of solution. So I would request, understanding sustainability is not enough theoretically. We should be on a part of solution. We should be a part of solution. So just a invite and welcome for all as a part of solution.
Okay, thank you very much, Jay. Thank you for joining the call. We really appreciate your time. So, for me, the final word for the audience to conclude the session.
Okay, thank you so much, Faith. And I think my final audience, my final words is going to be that we should, as individuals, adopt this simple sustainability habits. They are actually really simple. They are not that complex. Reduce waste, recycle it, minimize the use of single-use plastics. If you don't need to use plastic for something, there's an alternative. Don't get the plastic or don't use it. Conserve energy. When you're leaving your house, put off the bulbs, put off the switches, or plus you just put your changeover in neutral and you're sure that everything, is off. And with that, you are conserving, energy. Then be mindful of the things that, you consume, and also be an ambassador. Support eco-friendly products. I used to buy hair bands in the market until 3 years ago. I found a lady that she goes to the tailor's shops and pick up all those they don't use again. She picks them up and use it to make hair bands. So I stopped buying in the market, because those ones that sell in the market, most of them, that they actually go to materials to make those things. So now I see someone that is, conserving textile waste, so I say I'll stick to this person and I'll buy from the person. So support, businesses that are eco-friendly, that practice sustainability. So these are the little things that we can do as individuals that are very, very simple, to practice sustainability. And as one person, practices, the people around you, they see what you're doing, and you become an influencer. I can tell you that I'm an influencer with my full chest. I'm an influencer when it comes to sustainability. There's nobody around me. In fact, even if they want to do it, they will look around first to be sure that I'm not there, because I'll come for you, So with that, little by little, you are influencing the people around you, and bit by bit, the world can become a better place, and then the next generation can still enjoy these things. Yeah, so those are my final words.
Thank you. Thank you very much for me. Thank you, Jay. Thank you for joining the call, and thank you for your time and sharing this from your word of wisdom. Yes, I'm sure we all got it, and I'm sure our questions were answered. Yes, we are going to have more sessions to break this down further. So today we just wanted to discuss the basics to make everyone understand what sustainability is. And next month we are going to come up with another session where we have to discuss further on this. So we also want to invite you to be an ambassador. You've already heard from us, you've heard from our speakers. We need you to be an ambassador as well. Use your platform, use your social media. Also, your actions every day should also show others. When you're in the vehicle, don't just throw things out there. You also should know why. So now you should know why you should not just do some certain things. Why you yourself should be an ambassador, advocate to teach other people around you, and you also try to practice. So you can follow us on our various platforms. This is RJF Greenezos, an offshoot of the Richard George Foundation, and we are actually pushing this project on thank you. So we're actually pushing this project on sustainability, and we want every youth out there to join us. So you can volunteer to join us to push this message, to follow our platform so you can get more updates. Right about now, I want to invite our COO to continue to just give us a closing remark. That's the person of Stella. So please, if you want to partner with us too, you are very much welcome. And very soon we are going to come up with trainings on how you can reuse some of these things you have, on how you can upcycle, because some persons have things but they don't know what they can do with it, or what else they can come up with. And we are going to have 2 trainings to show you how these things can work and how you can use some of these things you have. And also there are people out there, according to Fumi, that said they recycle things, they pick up bottles and you pay. So if you don't know them, you're trying to find them, you can find them, please, you can reach out to us on our social media platforms and we will respond and find you one so that you can become part of these things we are talking about. So over to you, Stella. Please, let's welcome our own CEO, Stella, to give a closing remark. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Faith. And I want to appreciate all the speakers today and everyone on the call. Sincerely, you guys made me feel guilty, I beg. Man, for me, it's like they just put my matter in your mouth to be. You know that part when you go to a church and the pastor will just be talking about you. So I'm super excited to learn from everyone of you today. Sincerely, this session was really, really insightful. A lot to learn. Thank you so much. I hope it comes up every month as you have promised. And I wish that we even have more persons on the call. I think we have to even promote this event because a lot of persons need to hear about this. The concept that you just talked about today was so simplified that even a primary school people can understand what sustainability is. When I was growing up, in fact, when I did my service, the truth is the concept of sustainability, what I know about sustainability is about tree planting because that was what we were taught. You understand? So having knowledge about the the full concept is really interesting. It's so interesting. And I really thank you for your time. Your time. Thank you so much for giving us this insights to about sustainability. And we hope the next time we have it, we'll have a fuller house and we'll have more things to discuss. Thank you all, and I appreciate you again. Thank you.
Thank you, Stella.
Thank you,
Please, this
everyone.
video will be dropped on our YouTube channel, RGF Green Exhaust. So you can follow us on Richard George Foundation platform, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. We are everywhere. You can also follow us on RGF Green Exhaust. So we are also everywhere. So this video, this recording will be on our YouTube platform. So you can go back and listen again and also ask your questions. Will also be available. So we'll see you in our next session. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jay, and thank you, Fumi, for joining
My
us on the
pleasure.
call today. Thank
Happy
you
to
very
be here.
much. So
Thank
bye,
you, everyone.
everyone.
It was a
Bye.
lovely day.
Thank you all. Thank
Bye.
you. Okay.